Early sneakers. Team early. Got 'em early. Watch this before you buy. That's right, in today's Certified Hood Classic, we're going to be talking about early sneakers. First of all, I know you guys see the fits. I did come up on the Nigo crewneck last week. And if you're wondering what's the quality like, what's the fit like, the quality is good. It's fleece lined, it's pretty heavy, it's nicely made, it's very, very warm. And in terms of the fit, I would say it's true to size. It's not oversized. It only looks oversized on me because this is actually a double XL. Last weekend, I made a video where I was talking a little bit about some early sneakers that were on the market. And I asked you guys if you'd be interested in seeing a more detailed video from me talking about this subject. And I am delighted to report that about 3, maybe even 4 of you said you'd be interested. First and foremost, we're going to talk a little bit about the early pairs markets. Then I'm going to divulge unto you the different ways that early sneakers bleed out into that market. Then we'll talk a little bit about who buys these early pairs and why would you want to buy one of these early pairs, as well as whether or not it is worth it. So let's start off by talking about this market. It's pretty simple, really. The early pairs market exists because there's a market for these early pairs. There are people out there that are quite willing to spend over the resale price to get these pairs in early. These early pairs are available on multiple different e-commerce platforms, which are actually authenticated. There's also a whole bunch of resale networks out there that provide regular consumers like you and me with access to these early pairs. There's a whole bunch of different ways, including some pretty basic bog standard mainstream ways that you can get your hands on these early pairs. In fact, the market has actually become quite influential in the sense that it gives an indication as to the amount of stock available for certain releases. If, for example, a shoe's coming out and there's already a full size run available online early for a pretty low type of price, you can pretty much be guaranteed that that stock for that shoe is huge. And if the reverse is true, where there's hardly any early pairs available and the pairs that are available early are going for an extortionate price, that's a reflection that this sneaker is very limited. So how do these early pairs get into the market in the first place? The first thing to consider is the release calendar. Brands like Nike plan a year or 2 in advance. And so oftentimes sneakers are manufactured and then they're shipped and then they're distributed long before the release date even comes about. One of the ways that these early sneakers get out into the market is through seeding. If you don't know what seeding is, it's when a brand will essentially seed or give out particular products to sponsored athletes or influencers or celebrities or people that are affiliated with the brand in a particularly intimate way. This is often in a bid to generate hype. The next rung down when it comes to influencers, what can often happen with brands is they'll send out certain pairs early in order to have that content creator or that influencer make some content around that shoe to again drum up interest and generate hype. This has happened in the recent past even with myself, where Adidas sent me a pair of their upcoming 3D printed Climacool shoes. And these sneakers aren't going to be available to the public for another 4 to 6 weeks. The bulk of early pairs that tend to go out into the resale market are pairs that have been procured through the back door. The next way early sneakers get out is pretty simple, really. It's by stealing. A lot of stealing going on. If we go right to the start of the process, I have it on pretty good authority that one of the methods used by workers in these Chinese factories is that they'll actually take parts of the sneakers from various stages of the assembly process and then nick them and then assemble the shoes themselves later on off-site and then sell it via Instagram. A lot of times these pairs will be sold without boxes, which is one of the ways you know that they've essentially been taken off of the assembly line, and sometimes the assembly isn't done really well, so sometimes these sneakers can be mistaken for reps because they haven't been glued or stitched together correctly. The other thing that these factory workers will sometimes do over there in China is they will actually just raid the B-grade bins, which are the bins that the sneakers that have bad quality control or have flaws or have scuffs or scrapes, these can often be identified in the secondary market because they will either have the letter B stamped or written on the tag label inside the shoe. And again, because these have lower quality, they can also easily be mistaken for fakes, even though they've come from the legitimate factories. And then you also have the theft of these sneakers as they move from point to point towards their ultimate destination. So who buys these early sneakers? Well, there's only really 2 types of people that I've seen that are buying these sneakers early. One is the Flex Dons out there. Those of you that just can't wait to pay retail, you've got to overpay to get them early just so that you can say you've got them early. And the other type is your sneaker YouTubers. In fact, there are a lot of sneaker YouTubers that have pretty much made it their whole bit, their whole personality to have sneakers early and to give the reviews early. It's a good way to generate views on YouTube because people out there are interested in what's coming up. But apart from those two types of people, I don't really see anyone else out there buying early sneakers. And so are they worth it? Well, if you are a big sneaker YouTuber and you've already carved out a space for yourself in the market talking about early sneakers and your audience have almost come to expect early reviews from you, then you're probably going to find it worth it, yeah. The money that you make from making the video has got to go some ways to offsetting the extra price you've paid just to have the sneakers early. If it doesn't, then it just doesn't make sense. One thing that some content creators and YouTubers do that I think is pretty savvy is they have connections with stores or brands or whatever who will actually just loan them the shoe early to make some content with. So you borrow the shoe, you make your vid, you do your review, whatever, then you just send the shoe back. You don't even pay any money, and then you can recoup all of the ad revenue from the video that you make. That, to my mind, is a good way to do it. But at least for myself, I don't really think it's that worth it because there is a little bit of risk involved. If you overpay for a sneaker just to have it early and then you do the video and the video tanks and then the shoe ends up releasing and then it bricks, then you've completely overpaid, then you are taking the L. Whereas what I do is I just wait for the release like everybody else. I try to cop for retail. If I really want the shoe, then I'll pay the resale, but when I get it in, then I will make the video, and if the video does well, then hey, that's great. But if the video doesn't do well, then I can at least sell the shoe to get my money back or most of it. And so would I recommend early sneakers? Nah, not really. I think you should just wait for the release like everybody else. I have had people DM me and ask me whether or not so-and-so reseller of early pairs is legit or not. And I just want to make it clear right here and now that I do not endorse nor do I encourage anybody to go out there and spend their money with any particular seller on IG. I think it's a little bit risky. I think you should just wait like everybody else. And if you were to elect to go and deal with an online IG reseller of early pairs, just make sure you do your due diligence on said person and make sure you're paying with some kind of protection, like a goods and services type situation, because at the end of the day, a lot of these shipments can get held up, a lot of problems can go on when you're dealing with international sellers, and you don't want to be left being ghosted on Messenger, getting all anxious because you've got so much money tied up in an early pair that you might not even get early. So proceed with caution, but don't even worry about it, in my opinion. And there we go. That is the episode on early pairs. That's the markets. That's how they get out there. That's who's buying them, and that's why those people are buying them. If I have missed out any important details and you want to add to the conversation, feel free to tap out a comment down below. And as always, guys, I'd appreciate it if you'd give the video a like. That would be great. And I will see you on the next one. Take care for now, and peace.